This is a public hearing presentation for the Framework Action addressing recreational gag fishing and shallow water grouper closed season. The Council is considering two actions in this framework. The first action deals with the 2013 recreational gag fishing season and bag limit, and the second action addresses the February-March recreational shallow water grouper closure. Currently, recreational gag season is open from July 1st through October 31st. That's a 123-day season with a 2-fish bag limit. Just some history on how we got to these current regulations. In 2009, gag was declared overfished. So in 2011, the Council created two interim rules to end the overfishing of gag while a rebuilding plan was developed. And then in 2012, that gag rebuilding plan was implemented in Amendment 32, and it created the current regulations that allow for the greatest number of fishing days possible with a 2-fish bag limit. Now, fishermen and the state of Florida have asked the Council to consider shifting the gag season in 2013 to days when there is greater demand for gag fishing. This table shows the gag rebuilding targets that were set in Amendment 32, the gag rebuilding plan. Now, the numbers here are in millions of pounds, and as you can see, the acceptable biological catch, the sector annual catch limit, and annual catch targets all increase from the year 2012 through 2015. As long as the Council stays below the annual catch target, the Council can change the timing of the open season and the bag limit for gag fishing. A combination of both of these factors determine how many days the season can remain open. For example, if the season is open during a time when gag fishing is more successful, then the annual catch target will be reached quicker. Likewise, if the bag limit is higher and more gags are retained, then the annual catch target will be met quicker. Changing the season to a time when there is greater demand would result in a reduction in the number of days. The Council wants to know if there's any interest in reducing the gag bag limit to 1 fish in order to provide more days of fishing than a 2-fish bag limit would allow. So the first alternative for Action 1 is the no action alternative, and that would leave the season as it is. The second alternative would create a single season that would remain open until the annual catch target is projected to be reached. That projection would be made by National Marine Fisheries Service. Option A would open that season on March 1st, and if a 2-fish bag limit would be used, then an estimated 72 to 88-day season would open. If a 1-fish bag limit was used, an estimated 81 to 98 days of fishing would be open. Option B would open that single season on June 1st. With a 2-fish bag limit, that season would remain open for an estimated 86 to 137 days, and with a 1-fish bag limit, the season would remain open for an estimated 95 to 149 days. Option C would open the single season on July 1st. With a 2-fish bag limit, that would allow for an estimated 133 to 155 days of fishing. And a 1-fish bag limit would allow for an estimated 141 to 168 days of fishing. The third alternative in this action would create 2 sub-seasons. Option A would open a season in March, and the season would open again on June 1st and remain open until the annual catch target is reached. With a 2-fish bag limit, an estimated 67 to 96 days of fishing would be open. And with a 1-fish bag limit, the season would remain open for an estimated 80 to 112 days. Option B would open the season for the month of June, and then again the season would open on November 1st and remain open until the annual catch target is reached. With a 2-fish bag limit, that would allow for an estimated 61 to 89 days, and with a 1-fish bag limit, that would allow for an estimated 73 to 103 fishing days. Now, Option C would create a January season and also open the season again on June 1st and remain open until the annual catch target is reached. With a 2-fish bag limit, that would allow for an estimated 60 to 86 open days. And with a 1-fish bag limit, that would allow for an estimated 77 to 108 open days. And then the fourth alternative in this action would be to create 3 separate sub-seasons. Option A would open the season for the month of March. The season would then again open on June 1st and close on June 21st. And finally, the season would open on November 1st and remain open until that annual catch target's reached. With a 2-fish bag limit, this would allow for an estimated 68 to 89 days for the season. And then under a 1-fish bag limit, 79 to 104 days would be open for the season. Option B would open the season for the month of April, then again for the month of July, and finally a winter season would be created that would end on December 31st, and the number of fishing days would be calculated based on the remaining annual catch target. With a 2-fish bag limit, this option would allow for 88 to 108 estimated days open, and under a 1-fish bag limit, there would be an estimated 103 to 130 days open. Now moving on to the shallow water groupers, the Council considers black grouper, red grouper, gag, yellowfin grouper, scamp, and yellowmouth grouper to be within the shallow water grouper complex. Currently, there's a recreational closed season for the harvest of shallow water grouper from February through March 31st. That closed season was initially created to protect gag spawning aggregations, and then the closed season was extended to reduce red grouper harvest and protect other spawning groupers as well. And that closed season was repealed from the commercial fishery when the individual fishing quota program and some time area closures were put into place that accomplished the same goals of the closed season for the commercial fishery. Since there have been changes to management and changes to the fish stocks themselves, the utility of the current closed season is questionable. First of all, spawning aggregations occur offshore beyond where most recreational fishing occurs. Also, gag season is no longer linked to other shallow water groupers, so preventing the accidental catch of gags is no longer a priority of this season closure. And finally, red grouper is no longer considered overfished, and so the closure is not necessary to limit their harvest. There are 4 alternatives in this action. The first is the no action alternative. That would leave the season just how it is. It would close February 1st and remain closed through March 31st. The second alternative would modify the closed season, and there's 2 options here. Option A would shorten the season so that it closed February 15th and remained closed through March 15th. Now, this would bring us back to the original season closure and would protect the peak spawning of gag. And then option B would shift the closed season so that it closed on March 1st and remained closed through April 30th. This season option would protect peak spawning for a wider variety of groupers than the current closed season does. Alternative 3 would eliminate the closed season completely. Alternative 4 would eliminate the closed season shoreward of the 20-fathom boundary. So if you were fishing beyond 20 fathoms, then the current closed season would remain in effect. If you'd like to know a little bit more about this framework action that the Council is working on, you can find the full document at this link below. We'd like to know what you think about the options that we've presented, so please submit your comments by the 23rd of October, and you can do that at our electronic comment form at this link below. And then, as always, you can contact us with any questions.